Welcome, everyone. It's good to see everybody. Yeah, so we're going to talk about something that that I find to be something that as long as it's a problem, it can't be addressed enough. Uh, I personally believe that, and um, those of you that are familiar with the Watts case, which is basically everybody here. I'm pretty sure you guys understand that case has become something incredibly toxic in this community. And the reason why I'm doing this, those of you who have been subscribed to me for a long time know that that I have a very, very strong sense of community. Excuse me, and there's a reason why there's a few reasons why I take this community seriously, and why I want this community to be taken seriously. And when things such as the harassment of victims' families take place, um, it looks bad on everybody. It looks bad on the entire YouTube platform. Uh, this is why I've been saying this. It started off as a joke, you know, because Josh didn't know what the community was referred to as. So he called it real crime instead of true crime. I saw that as a hidden blessing, because the true crime community has become disgusting. It just has. And I don't want any part of that. I still think that we can talk about these cases, and we can do them for the right reasons, such as bringing awareness. If a missing person is missing, we spread the word. If somebody is at large, such as Brian Laundrie at the moment, we spread the word. It's what I feel is a moral responsibility that we have as content creators, with a platform of a good number of people. Could be 9,000 like mine, could be 120,000 like Annie's, could be in the millions like Christina Randall, you know, or Kendall Ray, but it's gotten to a point, and I'm going to read this because this is what inspired me to do this. As soon as I read this, I was like, this is so sad. And this is it's sad that it takes an actual family member of a victim to get this worked up and have to leave this public post. And well, Cherry, yeah, I'm sorry. It's beyond me. It's beyond me. It is what it is, Now, I messaged Frankie Rzucek Jr. I messaged him to give him a respectful heads up that I was going to be doing this. He gave me his personal blessing. And I'm going to go ahead and read this post. It says here, I fear no man, only God. No one will intimidate me or bully me. I've gone the legal route because I will no longer allow these keyboard warriors to threaten me or my family. They have put our lives in danger, slandered, tormented, incited hate, spread horrible, malicious rumors and lies, mentally, emotionally, psychologically abused my parents or myself. I will no longer allow anyone to make our lives a living hell. All of this because I lost my only sister, Shanann, two little nieces, Bella and Celeste, my nephew, Nico, and I've stood up for my family and myself. I will always be here for my family. I always have and always will protect them until my last breath. Anyone can talk crap behind their computer screen, but it takes a real man to do what's right. That's exactly what I'm doing. I've never threatened anyone, nor have I started anything with anyone. I've only stood up for myself. I've been a successful business owner for almost 15 years now. You people have defamed my name, made my depression, anxiety, and PTSD way worse with your actions. Your daily attacks of disgusting slander, bullying, harassment, and torment has mentally drained my parents and myself. I've never seen such vile, sadistic, and defamatory words said about anyone, let alone myself. My parents are all I have left on this planet, and I'll be damned if I'm going to let any of you take them from me. Don't forget our family was brutally murdered in front of each other. Every single day for 3 years now, we've had to deal with this evil and downright disgusting human beings. All for what? Because we stand up for facts and the truth. My murdered family doesn't have their voice any longer, and if any of you evil people think you know anything about my family, you don't. Because you won't listen to the facts, real evidence, or believe a word we say, this evil has left me speechless many times. I've asked myself what possesses these people to knowingly hurt my family, and that has already been through more than anyone should go through. I've been around YouTube long enough to see that people don't care about human life anymore. The internet is fantasy to them. Only that I've hired a phenomenal legal team to do people call this real life? I hate to break it to you, but this has been real life to us for over 3 years now. You get to wake up from your bad dreams or nightmares. We don't. We wake up every day already knowing our day is going to be hell, not only because our precious family was murdered, but because of you evil people, and that's if we got any sleep to begin with. None of you will ever know what it's like. The only thing you can do is wonder what you would do in our situation. And even then, you will never actually know because everyone is different. Do you know how hard it is just to get motivated in the morning, let alone deal with all of this? You don't. And thank God above that, you never will. I'm forever grateful and honored that so many people have nothing but love to give. They have empathy, morals, integrity, and a heart. They can think for themselves, see what's right in front of them. They don't believe all the drama, hate, and lies. They stand proudly next to my family, and we're blessed to have them with us. May God bless each and every one of you. I can't thank all of you amazing people enough. You all give us faith, strength, love, support, courage, and most of all, you give us hope that there's more good than bad, faith that we will get through this, and strength in knowing we will get through these trying times. The devil is busy today, now more than ever. We must not and will never, ever let evil win. The justice system will have the final say, and thank God we're all on the right side of the law. Thanks again to all of you wonderful people for what you do and what you stand for. We couldn't have done this without all of you without all of you. God bless you all. So to see this happen, to see someone from a case that was closed 3 years ago, this distraught, this stressed, this scared. Now, I know he says, I fear no man, but it's not that I think that he's afraid of what anybody's going to do to him and his family necessarily. I think that he's afraid of how he's going to handle it. If he's going to continue going every day and dealing with it in the most rational way possible that he knows how to. And he's only speaking for himself. He's not even speaking for the rest of his family. You know, he's a grown man. He's not even speaking for the rest of his family. And I know I have a lot of new subscribers, and I want to be clear about something. I want to share a very ironic little story with you guys. Um, and you'll understand why it's ironic. Uh, and I've spoken on this channel before, but like I said, a lot of you are new. Uh, but a lot of you have been faithful followers for a long time. Uh, but for me to realize how toxic this behavior is, for me to realize how, for me to realize that these are real people in these cases, they're not just characters in some fictional story. For me to realize that these are real people who are really affected, it took my own disgusting behavior to wake up. And I mean, it happened like a bolt of lightning. And I had never done anything even like this prior to that. But and this is not an excuse. It's just to help you get a little perspective of what the scenario was at the time. I was brand new to YouTube. I was brand new to it. And as a matter of fact, I don't think that I had even done my first. Maybe I did, but I don't think I did my first live stream on my own channel yet. I had streamed as a panelist on someone else's channel a couple of times. And this was my only example because I didn't follow a lot of YouTubers. I didn't follow hardly any. So this was my real example of how it's done. And I just kind of saw it as, okay, well, we can say whatever we want because it's just entertainment. You know, unfortunately, these people are in this position because they're in this position. That has nothing to do with us. That has nothing to do with what we do. But sadly, it does affect them. And I wasn't thinking of this at the time. I was just trying to think of how I could be the most entertaining and funny guy. And it was at the cost of someone who had gone through something that I can't even imagine going through. Now, luckily, the second that I did this, it was quick enough to where no harm was actually done. And I said, what the hell am I doing? What is going on? What are we doing here? And that was all it took. From that moment on, I have been extremely vocal about how wrong it is to not have empathy for these victims' families. That this isn't about sleuthing. This isn't about trying to figure out and solve the crime, especially when it's a crime that's already been solved, and it's already been solved by professionals. I mean, how do I look sitting up here talking like I'm an expert on something, theorizing on things that I don't know anything about, versus the conclusions made by trained professionals? This is something I've always been very vocal about. But I remember from that moment on, I decided I don't want anything to do with the Watts case. If I start my channel, I'm not talking about the Watts case. I'm not doing it because it had gotten out of hand. I was on this other person's channel, and I've personally myself said unfavorable things about Frankie Jr., but I wasn't doing it to be malicious. In my head, I was justifying it because I was like, well, hey, it's a case everybody's talking about. It is what it is. If they don't want to hear it, get off the internet. Don't listen to it. That was my rationale. And here's the thing. Is I understand, I understand and I agree with the fact that you have the right, you have the legal right, your First Amendment right to speak on whatever you want. If something is a public case that everyone's talking about, you have every right to express your opinion on it openly. And if you happen to have thousands and thousands of subscribers to do it, to listen to it, well, you know that it is what it is. But here's the thing about that, though. It doesn't mean you're not an asshole for doing it. You know what I mean? It doesn't make it right. You have the First Amendment freedom, the God-given American freedom to say whatever you want, in my personal opinion. But if you can't see that all you're doing is exploiting a family that has just been exploited by the world, literally, I mean, well, not literally, but the universe just totally gave them the worst possible blow to the head and to the heart. How can you justify trash talking these people, spreading rumors about them, sharing pictures that shouldn't be shared? How can you justify taking a case that this family has, the very least they've gotten from it was closure in the legal sense? If this case wasn't so public, this would have been over. As soon as he pled guilty, as soon as he was sentenced, bada boom, bada bing, these people can move on with their lives. It has been 3 years. And even though that took place, legally speaking, in a court of law, they have not gotten the closure. They have not gotten to move on with their lives. And it's not the law that's doing it. It's people on social media. It's people on social media who either think that they know better than professionals, or they think that no, never mind. Sorry, I thought I read something. Either they think that they know better than professionals, or they think that it's justified in stirring things up. Because the bottom line, if you're a creator, what you're doing, and if you have a lot of followers, you have a lot of people that really are invested into what you're saying, you don't have control over what they do. And the ironic part is that's the common excuse. Well, I don't have any control over what my listeners do, which is true. But you can actually exercise some restraint that would help manage. You could do your part to help manage what your listeners are going to do. And if you condone doxing, if you condone harassment, if you actually get on your YouTube channel and make harassing phone calls live on a live stream, then what are you doing? What message are you sending to your audience? Now, I'm not up here to bash any of these other creators. What's funny is there's one creator whose name keeps coming up, never clicked on his channel. You know why? Because it's Watts related. As a matter of fact, today, Alex Erickson, she was live today. And big shout out to her too, man, because she I don't know how she doesn't have a ton more subscribers. She has had very, very interesting people that I wouldn't imagine getting myself to be interviewed on my channel. She's gotten some pretty amazing interviews. And you know, and somebody had the nerve to question the guest that she had on today. The guest that she had on today was actually a former cellmate of Chris Watts. And as soon as As soon as I heard him say what Chris Watts' story to him was about the incident that took place, I clicked off. I love Alex Erickson's channel. I love it, but I couldn't do it. I was just like, Jesus, because I can't listen to this guy's lies anymore. Like, it's always a different lie. And I truly honestly believe that Chris Watts is trolling social media from prison, not even with the gratification of seeing the results. He just gets to hear through the grapevine. But make no mistake, he's trolling the internet. He's totally trolling the internet. And you guys are feeding right into it. Every one of you creators who put out these stupid theories, you're entertaining this guy in prison. You're making his prison time fun. Because he has his little imagination to think, okay, well, I just put out this lie and then I put out this lie. Now people, since somebody told me that the whole world's talking about this still and they won't let it go, well, guess what? They're all just going at each other, and I love it. I guarantee you that's what Chris Watts is doing behind bars. And how is that in any way, shape, or form justice for Shanann, Bella, Cece, and Nico? How is that in any way, shape, or form justice for them? And it's not because you're sitting there. Well, one creator might be, but we don't really have to worry about her anymore, though. But there's tons of creators out there, and they don't know. They don't know this. They're just thinking, okay, well, the whole world's talking about it, so this is how I'm going to get people to log onto my channel. And the way that I keep them logged onto my channel is if I start spinning more and more and more things. I take this and I just blow it up. I can talk about this one creator because she's no longer on anymore, but Mary Marlowe, she was doing that. And Mary Marlowe was doing it because she honestly believed it. That was wacky. That was just wacky. Like, you just watched this woman. It was a train wreck. You just watched this woman, just one crazy theory after the other. And people were like mesmerized by it. Nobody said he could watch YouTube from prison. I'm just saying he's can talk to people, right? He could talk to his mom or his dad, new people coming into the prison. They're not going to tell him, hey, people are talking about your case like crazy. Oh my God, there was a Netflix special. It was #1. You don't think he's getting news like this in prison? You think he's absolutely, completely, and totally cut off from the entire world? No. Yeah, and you were fairly new to it, Mexi. You were fairly new to it, and it didn't take you long. That's pretty much what happened to me. I saw that I was a part of that. And I hadn't really been. And then there was just this one thing that happened, and I was like, what in the hell are you doing? This is not what you do. What are you doing, dude? And I was able to catch it before it actually caused any damage. Little did I know that this had already been caused and caused damage prior to my contribution to it. So unfortunately, I didn't get to avoid the damage that was being done because it was being done by someone else already. And it's just, yeah, and it's not just the Rzuceks that are dealing with this. This is every single true crime case or real crime case. Sorry. It's every single real crime case that is talked about on a mass level all over YouTube. It's every single one. Every single one of these victims that we talk about have families, have loved ones that are stressing over this. And 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 we just act like we don't care. Now, here's the thing about that post, because I was texting with Frankie just before I started on here, and I know, Cherry. Let's see. The entire Watts clan are despicable, disgusting people, as well as others who are being so gross and disgusting. I agree. And I used to just be like, man, suck it up. You know what I mean? I used to be like, oh, well, they're making money off of Lavelle and whatever. So what? How's that your problem? How's that your business? You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, that was just me unconsciously making excuses for my own behavior, justifying taking this family's feelings for granted and not caring and using it to entertain. And as I was saying before, I was texting with Frankie, and he's not kidding. Like he's not kidding. He has an attorney, and he's actually raising money for his legal team because he's going after everybody. Everybody. He's been talking about it. He's told me behind the scenes a few times that he's like, it's coming. It's coming. I'm putting it together. And the time is now. And so normally, you guys know how I feel about GoFundMe's, things like that. This is not a GoFundMe. This is a fund that is set up by his attorney. And make no mistake that this is going towards making the people who have harassed his family over these last 3 years accountable for their actions. So I have no problem. I've asked my mods to share the link in the chat, and I'm going to, and I forgot to put it in the description, but I'll make sure to put it in the description. And Cherry has just posted it here. So if you can find it in your hearts to help them with this, if you find the behavior of victims' families being harassed to be absolutely disgusting and despicable, and you find them getting to hide behind the First Amendment and telling everyone, they get to hide behind the First Amendment, and these victims' families just have to take it. But they can legally fight back. They can absolutely legally fight back. And I fully support them for doing it. I fully support any family that takes on, because you don't have to use this for content. It's a moral issue. It's absolutely a moral issue. Oh, hey, Annie, what's up? It's a moral issue. It's that simple. Because the bottom line is, yeah, they're expressing their First Amendment rights. That just means they can't get arrested for it. YouTube's a private company. They can kick you off YouTube. That happened. But they can't arrest you. But in theory, I'm not an attorney, but in theory, if someone is being caused pain and suffering because of your actions, because of you expressing your First Amendment right, well, I'd say they're probably compensated. They're probably eligible for compensation, I should say. Sorry. And this is the thing. This what really, really bugs me. The main reason why I am supporting this family, as I started this live stream off as saying, my sense of community is something that I'm very, very proud of. What I love about YouTube versus mainstream media, right? Mainstream media, every network, what they are is their channels, if you will, they are in competition with each other. They're in competition for ratings. YouTubers, we're not in competition for each other, with each other. People are subscribed to me because they want to hear my perspective on things. And then somebody could click on Mexi's channel when he's talking about the exact same subject, but they clicked on his channel because they wanted to hear his perspective on things. All you have to do is make yourself interesting enough to where people want to hear your perspective on things. And that's all. And it's fair game for everybody. And we can actually help each other. We can support each other. But this ridiculous behavior where you're just using a victim's demise as a way to anger people because that's the easy way to get clicks and views. I mean, there's no other way to put it. It's low-hanging fruit. I mean, it's pathetic. It's low-hanging fruit. I think covering the Watts case is low-hanging fruit because it's closed. It's been closed for 3 years. It's been closed for 3 years. I have actually heard Frank Sr. on Mommy Ramley's blog's channel. I heard him say there's nothing to this anymore. All we want is the closure that we should have gotten from justice being served. But if this family is constantly being harassed, threatened, doxxed, if they're being scrutinized and slandered, well, what's the point in the justice? Where's the justice? Doesn't make sense. They're the ones stuck with the responsibility of having to live through this. And yet their life just gets perpetually worse and worse and worse because something beyond their control, horrible, happened to the people that they love. How is that justice? I don't see how he can lose. I don't see how he can lose. If I'm being honest, because everything's documented. Everything's documented. What do you think Frankie Jr. was doing this whole time? Now, I don't know for a fact, but if you're sitting here wondering, well, why does somebody take so long to file a lawsuit? Well, why does it usually take so long for the police to place someone under arrest? You are collecting evidence. so that one day when you go into a courtroom, you've got an airtight case. So if I had to guess, the Rzuceks were patiently just waiting, screen recording, screenshotting, and just collecting as much data as they possibly can so they can take it in front of a civil court judge. No, you know what? Because I've seen this happen, and it does an Irish fan. I think people are just wired a certain way. You know what I'm saying? I think some people are just wired a certain way. I think some people are just, like they say, a leopard can't change their spots. Yeah, when it happens to them, they don't go, "Oh my God, is this how it feels?" That's not what they do. When it happens to them, they go, "Oh my God, how dare you!" Completely oblivious to what they've done before. "Oh my God, how could you do this? You called my daughter at work." Well, yeah, that's not okay, but why are you shocked that it happened to you? Like, that makes no sense. I mean, but it always happens. It's just always the way. Like, these people always find the route to twist things. Whenever they're backed into a corner, they find a way to sad fish. They find a way to go, oh, and then it's break down, feel sorry for me. If I can't make you feel totally bad about yourself, and I have no more weapons to use against you, you see that I have no more weapons to use against you, well, then I'm gonna, oh, wait, how dare you? How could you do this to me and my family? Well, what have you been doing for the past 3 years? What have you been doing for the past 3 years? You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking to any creator, not just the ones that 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 have straight up harassed this family. What you don't understand is when you're using this family's misfortune as content, you're perpetuating a problem. You're perpetuating a problem, and you're still contributing to life being difficult for this family. You're not doing anything to contribute to their closure. That's what we as a real crime community should be doing for these victims' families. That should be our focus. Our main focus, the goal should be closure for these families. That should be the mindset. That's my personal opinion. But if your goal isn't that, well, then you're just not morally coming from the right place. That's just how I feel about that. I mean, it's not even that hard, man. It's not even that difficult. All you have to do is just exercise a little empathy. Even if you have to be like me and make a conscious effort to do it. You know, even if you're like me and you gotta actually make a conscious effort to exercise empathy towards someone else, because I do. I'm not proud of that. I'm not proud of that at all. But at least I do that. Well, closure has a, I mean, that's funny, but closure has a lot to do with what we're talking about here. Because why has it been 3 years and the Rzuceks have not gotten closure? Even though justice is served, even though the person responsible for this horrible, horrible event that took place in their lives, this person who took away such important people to them, is locked behind bars and he's never getting out. There's no way he's ever getting out. Right? Like, yet their lives are like a living hell, on top of the fact that they got to live with the fact that their grandchildren, nieces, nephew, sister, daughter was murdered. And for what? For what? Because the dude didn't have the guts to ask his wife for a divorce? For that? That by itself is a hell. That by itself is a hell to have to live with. And then you take every single YouTube creator who has been milking this situation, this horrible thing that's happened to this family, and milking it for mediocre content at best. Can you imagine what that's like for them to have to live with? I think Frankie was extremely thorough in how he explained himself. And I think he was extremely respectful, even. It was worded quite rationally. It was very emotional, but every single bit of emotion that I felt in that was justified coming from him. Every word. But people, I mean, and you know, as YouTube creators, like I was saying before, you know, since we're not in competition with each other, I mean, if we just practice a little morality and a little less greed, but a little morality, and have a good, a common goal, which is to help bring these families closure. If we all had that end goal, guess what? The chances of us as a community being taken seriously by mainstream media, by real victims' families, well, guess what? That's going to build your channel. That's going to build the community and build every channel in the community, and everybody's going to do well. Everybody's going to benefit. And those with the most insight and the most fact-driven but entertaining content are going to be the more successful. But there's a piece of the pie for everybody. But the thing is we're never going to evolve as a community if we keep acting like a bunch of crazy cowboys with guns. We never learned how to shoot. That's what it's like. It's like just a crazy Wild West People who never even bother to learn how to shoot. They're just out there, pow, 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 just shooting. And the people who are already suffering the most are the ones getting shot. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not like all it takes is a little patience, you know, but we all want it right now. How am I going to get 100,000 subscribers tomorrow? You know what I mean? That's always the attitude. But man, if you just, I mean, here's the thing. My channel, I've had this channel for, I think, 4 years, almost 4 years, probably almost exactly 4 years, right? I'm not even at 10,000 subscribers yet. But I'll tell you what, though, my channel has never stopped growing. It's never declined. And I just focus on the gratitude that I have for that. It's never declined. I look at how I got here, and I'm just like, all right, I just got to keep doing what I'm doing. And all I'm doing is just trying to be the best person I can be. It's all I'm doing. I'm not, you know, I'm not trying to come up with the next gimmick. I'm talking about things that I know generally in this community we all have opinions about, and then I express my opinions. That's all. That's all I do. That is that's the formula to my content. And maybe you might be saying, well, that's why you've been here 4 years and you don't even have 10,000 subscribers yet. Yeah, but I've always grown. I've never declined. And to me, that tells me, by my standards, that I'm doing it right. Because the other standards get you kicked off YouTube. It just does. It gets you booted right off YouTube. Because we've seen it happen. Thousands of subscribers. Thousands. Gone. Just like a snap of Thanos' fingers. So, what's more beneficial? Playing the long game the right way? Or wanting it all right now? No matter who you run over. Yeah, it doesn't hurt. I'll tell you that right now. See, I'm not even going to get that deep into this. See, this is the problem. I'm just going to keep this real simple. And I like you, Lori Dozer. I do. And you're entitled to your opinions. But the fact is, the problem is, and Frankie says it, I've never even had this conversation with the dude, right? But he's saying the same thing that I'm always saying. The case is closed. That's part of their frustration. If trained professionals, no one is walking away free. Anybody who was involved in this crime has been charged, and and justice is being served. It doesn't matter what you believe. It doesn't matter what you believe, because it's not your place. If the victim's family says that justice is being served, that needs to be good enough for you, period. Silly, man. Silly to sit here and go, nope. No, man. They're the ones that have the trained professionals working the case, talking to them, giving them the facts that you don't get because you're not entitled to them. Only the family's entitled to them. And the fact is only the family is entitled to demand the justice for what's happened here. You're not entitled to that. They're the ones entitled to decide whether justice is being served or not. And they've decided it. They've decided that everyone responsible for this crime has been charged and justice is being served, period. And yes, it's one person. It's Chris Watts, because if it was anybody else, evidence would have been found of it and they would have charged that person. A high-profile case like this, you think they're just going to let something slip? You think a family like this, the way that you've seen them behave for the last 3 years, you think that they're just going to let somebody get away with it if they thought that somebody else was involved? You think they're just going to lay down and take that quietly? You think the guy that wrote that post is going to just sit there and take someone getting away, someone involved in his only sister's murder? You think he's just going to be like, whatever? No, this dude is angry, and rightfully so. But he's not up here going, oh my God, Nicole Kessinger got away with murder. No, the police, if they would have had any reason to believe that she was involved, she would have been charged, she would have been prosecuted, she would have been tried. That's it. He knows I'm live, Undercover Mother. Thank you. I appreciate it, though. Silly, man. Like, silly. It's the craziest thing. Like, everything. Like, dude, like, when it comes to real crime cases, as far as justice goes, this case had a bow on it, bro. This case had a bow on it. See, there's two types of people that follow real crime, right? True crime people. This is the difference. True crime people can't wait for the drama of a trial. Real crime people feel like this family has suffered enough. Let's hope that the person responsible takes responsibility and accountability, pleads guilty, so that the family doesn't have to go through the suffering of a trial. That's the difference between the true crime community and now the real crime community. That's the difference. People sitting there, no, I don't accept it. Nobody needs you to. Nobody needs you to. Who are you? You're nobody. You're nobody. You watch too many Lifetime movies and listen to the fancy narration of ID Crime Channel TV shows, and you're like, oh, nail biter. No, man. This is somebody who lost people in the most horrific way. Justice was served, and like I said, with a bow on it. This family should have done moved on from this. But because you people don't know your role, here they are 3 years later having to sue people. Stupid, man. People kill me. Hold on, let me see this. Now I'm fired up. Oh my God, you're so unreal. Who are you talking and generalizing about? And you people, not cool. Corrine, shut the fuck up. Sit down. Stephen Avery case. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, do I look like a professional investigator? Was I there? Did I interrogate or interview Stephen Avery? No, neither did you. I mean, you can have opinions on it. I'm not telling you not to talk about it. That's not, you know what I'm saying? That's different. That's a completely different situation. But when you have people contacting this family, you have people going to the house, collecting rocks, pretending to be Chris Watts in an interview and mocking the whole thing like it's funny, and acting like a fan person. I mean, it's see this. Like 2 years later, creators be like, there's one last thing I want to say again. I was thinking last night about the car in front of the house. Right. Like, who are you? Acting like a real family suffering is like Bigfoot. Come on, man. People need to show these people some respect already, man. You know, and if you're acting like you're speaking for them, you know what I'm saying? How are you speaking for them? Let me tell you, let me ask you this. How are you speaking in defense for them? You're sitting there going, oh my God, but everybody involved isn't paying for the crime. Justice isn't being served. Who are you to say that? Who are you to say that? That makes no sense. All of a sudden, you broke the case that's been closed for 3 years, where the family's like, you don't think this family was completely and totally involved? Did you not see their faces in the courtroom when Chris Watts was being sentenced? Did you not watch them? Because I saw a family that I have no doubt in my mind was completely and totally consumed with knowing every single fact on this case. If they thought Nicole Kessinger was involved, I guarantee you that they wanted the police just on her like white on rice to get the truth. I guarantee you that. This was the other woman, man. Come on. Give this family some credit. You don't think that they looked at the other woman like, man, part of this is her fault? But if she could have been charged with a crime, I guarantee you this family would have fought tooth and nail to make sure that she was. And then you guys act like you care about it more than they do. That's how arrogant is that? To sit here and be like, Nicole Kessinger did it. She's involved. And when the family themselves are sitting there telling you, no, she's not. Can I please just get a good night's sleep for once in 3 years? And they've been saying this. I've been saying this for 3 years. I've been saying this, people, which is why I absolutely and totally support the actions that they've decided to take. I believe that at this point, their back is against the wall. What do they have to do? What does it take for you people to let this family live their lives in peace once and for all? This family has yet to be able to mourn peacefully. 3 years, they have not been able to mourn peacefully for their loss. And it's your fault. So I don't care what y'all say, man. I totally support it. I totally support it. I hope he files every lawsuit and wins every single one. And every single one of these people who would not let this case go at their request deserves what's coming to them. Every single one. Hell, I'll follow it. I refuse to talk about the Watts case and cover it like a case. I refuse to, because there's nothing to cover. There's nothing to cover anymore. But what I will do is follow this. Believe that. I will follow this. I will follow this case. Every lawsuit, I will keep updates on it. See, look at this, man. It's like you don't hear me, dude. It's like we're not even having the same conversation, bro. It's not my place to worry about whether or not Chris acted alone. It's not your place to worry about whether or not Chris acted alone. It's up to the professionals, and it's up to the victim's family to decide if justice has been served. It is not your place to worry about it. You are overstepping boundaries. And the results of you overstepping boundaries by worrying about shit that has nothing to do with you is them suffering even more and not being able to live a normal life. A normal life, despite the fact that they can't, the one detail that they can't change, that they lost Shanann, Bella, Cece, and Nico in the worst possible way. Yo, like, you just stuck on, I mean, let it go. Let it go. Exactly, Yvette. Or even anything that they could have that they would have convicted on, that they could have convicted on. You're saying if the police had one shred of evidence, others were involved, they would have acted on it. Well, I mean, even if they can't convict on it, right? You don't think if it was a case of, oh my God, we know she did it, we just can't prove it. You don't think that Frankie would be vocal as hell? This guy right here, you don't think that he would be vocal as hell about saying, oh my God, I will not rest until everyone who was involved in my sister and my niece's murder and my unborn nephew's murder, I will not rest until everyone involved is held accountable. You don't think that this guy right here that wrote this thing is going to do that? What about this guy's personalities and not indicate to you that he would not rest until that happened? And that's just him, Scarlett. That's just him. That's just him. You know what I'm saying? What about Shanann's dad? What about her mom? What about Chris's family? I mean, I'd like to think that Chris's family, if they knew that that was the case, they would be like, no, man, it's not fair that my son is taking all the blame on this. You don't think they'd be advocating? See, nobody uses their eyes in true crime. But over here in real crime, we do. So you got to use your eyes, people. Like, you got to look at these simple things, and nobody wants to hear it. I sat here and I had one creator, I think he was in my chat earlier, just a little while ago. I had this dude on my channel, and I asked him real simple questions that he just could not get around. He just started making stuff up as some justification for why he was thinking what he was thinking. You know what I mean? Like simple questions that, well, what about this? What about this? And then I give a simple explanation to it. And then they're like, wow, well, maybe. No, man. You're not a trained professional. Let the professional's conclusion be what's good enough for you. If it's good enough for the family, it needs to be good enough for you. It's just that simple. If the conclusion is good enough for the victim's family, you got no business of it being anything different for you. No business. Yet here you are. I feel so honored that you hate YouTube so much that you're in my chat. Thank you. Well, Gemini, here's the thing: it's common sense. It's common sense. That's what makes it so crazy. Because if people were just simply using common sense, well, then the Rzuceks wouldn't have any grounds to sue anybody, would they? It's right, but that's what a decent person does. We're not always going to do it right. Yeah, like why does it take them to sue people for it to get people to just have some respect? Yeah, I'm it's crazy. I can't even believe that I'm sharing a link in my chat for people to donate money, because the fact is the fact is I'm so stoked about where that money's going. I'm excited about it. I want to see it happen. I totally want to see it happen. That whole Watts Island crap is the most toxic sewage on YouTube. It's ridiculous. And thank you for being here, Sandra Rzucek. I mean everything I say with all the respect in the world. And I'm sorry for everything that your family's gone through. And I'm sorry for anything that I did to contribute to it early on. I'm truly sorry about that. Yeah, like why why not why not just Gemini is spot on right here. You know, Listen and heed the family's plea to stop. Why isn't that enough for people to just go, all right, along with the fact that the case has been closed for 3 years? I mean, come on, man. Like how are you anything? How are you everything or anything other than just it makes no sense to me. How can you call yourself a decent person or someone who's even trying to be a decent person when you can't simply respect the wishes of a victim's family when the case has been closed 3 years? A victim's family who has been extremely vocal and shown how much this case has affected them. It's crazy to me. Like that's Twilight. I feel like if I was one of the Rzuceks, I'd feel like I was totally in like a nightmare, straight up. Just like, dude, do you understand what's happening here? And people are just like, oh, well, we understand and we empathize with you, but fuck you. We're gonna talk about it anyway. Sorry you're getting harassed. I'm not harassing you. Sorry you're getting harassed though because of things I'm saying. Like that's got to be a surreal nightmare to have to deal with that. And how do you protect yourself legally from that, man? Like, think about it. It's thousands of people harassing you. Thousands of people. How's law enforcement? What are they going to put together a platoon to go arrest thousands of people to get them to stop? That's a nightmare. People with names. People with names. You know what I'm saying? Like, some of it's not even happening like anonymously. And they can't do anything about it except get a lawyer and sue. And good for them, man. Good for them. Yeah, nobody takes that into consideration. Like, I've heard all this stuff too, man. I've even said it, you know? Oh, well, you know, Frankie's a druggie and blah, blah, blah. And he's, you know, making money off Lavelle and, blah, blah, blah. Just because I was on someone's channel that for some reason that I just thought that was okay to do that without thinking about it. Well, then let him log off. Don't listen to it. I have the right to say whatever I want to say. Don't listen to it. Well, no, man. What I should have been like is, well, how about just don't be an asshole? How about mind your own business because you don't know what this family's going through? How about you're nobody to judge anybody on how they grieve and how they deal with their problems? Because let me tell you something, people. I'm nobody to do that. I am nobody to throw stones at somebody for how they choose to grieve or deal with their problems. I am somebody who just recently came up with a plan on how to deal with my problems and is still learning how to stick to that plan. Who the hell am I to sit here and start throwing judgment as to how these people deal with grief in their lives? Who the hell are you to do that? Yeah, I saw that. I saw that on Mommy Rambling's blog. And you know what's funny about that is it's like a catch-22. You don't think that these poor people, when that happened, Frankie Sr. was at opposite ends with Sandra, and that's just one little thing that they disagreed on. But then people turned and blew that up into being some crazy, like they're characters in a soap opera. Oh, well, I bet Frankie feels this way, and it bet you that Sandra is probably going to get a divorce from him because they can't agree, and because he finds forgiveness in her heart, and they just can't forgive each other for not feeling something. That shit is none of your business, man. That shit is none of your business. None of it. None of it. They have every right to feel, each individual in that family has every right to feel however they feel about it. You have every right to feel however you feel about it. Sort of. Sort of. Like if you take it personally, like it's affecting your life in some way, that's arrogant and it's a slap in the face to them. And there's way too many of you out there doing that. Acting like, no, there's no justice. Nicole Kessinger is out there. Like, that's not for you to worry about, man. They got it. Calm the hell down. They got it. You know, the people that are burdened with the responsibility of worrying about that, I promise you, they're taking care of it, or they already have. Now all they need is for you to shut the fuck up. That's it. Guys, I love you. We will do this again very soon, my friends.